Good afternoon and welcome to the Humidor Report. Justin here from Beaumont's very own cigar club. Super excited. Before we get to the announcement, I want to thank everybody who came out a few weeks ago to our Blackened event. Had a great time with Jenny Lynn Hunter from Drew Estate, and we hope all of you had a blast as well, because events are always fun, right? Right. And that's what brings me to the announcement. We have our next event lined up and ready to go. And if you can't tell, we are doing Perdomo Cigars from Nicaragua. That event's going to take place here at our Beaumont Cigar Club. That is going to take place on Friday, May 26th, right here in Beaumont. So put that on your calendars now. If you haven't tried any of the Perdomo product, I'll give you a little bit of background. Nick Perdomo's been in this game for more than the 20 plus years that I have been in the cigar world for sure. And Nick definitely has some trademark stuff about his product. One thing you'll always notice about Perdomo product is it is almost always, all of the time, as much as he possibly can, 100% Nicaraguan tobacco, which even when it comes to his Connecticut's, that does make them a little fuller bodied than, say, some of those milder Dominican Connecticut blends you might be used to, but it makes for some super tasty Connecticut's. So what we have in a Connecticut wrapper from Perdomo, we do have the famous Perdomo 10th anniversary champagne. This thing has been around, I would say, dare I say, a dozen years plus, 15 years maybe. Definitely a staple of the Perdomo portfolio. So we do have the Champagne 10th anniversary, and we also have the Habano Connecticut. That one is actually referred to these days as the BBA. The name can be a little deceptive because the line is called Habano, as you see both here on the Connecticut and sun-grown versions of that, but they don't use Habano wrappers, so that can be a little confusing. So we tend to call them the BBA, BBA standing for Bourbon Barrel Aged. Since this brand has been in existence, and that's been a good 10 years at least at this point, they have always aged some of this tobacco in used bourbon barrels. At the time, they didn't advertise that. They didn't make it part of their marketing. But since barrel aging has become a more and more popular thing in the cigar world, they've started making a point to let you know that that's what's going on with these cigars. So if you ever hear any of us in the shop or anybody else somewhere talk about the Perdomo BBA, we're talking about this Perdomo Habano series. What we've got right here featured, I said, in the Connecticut and in the sun-grown. Now, swinging back to the 10th anniversary line, we talked about the Champagne. The Champagne has been the only thing out there with that 10th anniversary designation on it for a long time, until maybe about this time last year, or maybe closer to a year and a half ago now, when they launched these two additions to the 10th anniversary line, the Maduro and the sun-grown. The Maduro got a lot of attention right off the bat. I believe it was Cigar Coupe that instantly gave this thing, I believe it was like a 93 rating right as soon as it hit the market, or they made it their cigar of the year, something like that. But as soon as this one hit, this one got a whole lot of attention. I had one myself last week, smoking really good. I'm not even a big Maduro guy, and I really like what's happening with this one. The sun-grown's a bit more my style, and they're smoking great too. Even our owner says this is his favorite product coming out of Nicaragua right now. So lots of good things from the folks at Perdomo that we'll have available for that event. Now, what's the other good thing about events? It's deals and it's swag. We're still getting the details as far as how the swag and deals breakdown is going to work out, but it should be a building tier of prizes up until you get to a full box sale, where I think you'll get the whole swag pack. We'll have more of those details the closer we get to the event, when we know for sure what all will be available. But fortunately, I have had at least some of the goodies dropped on us. We do have a hat that's got a built-in bottle opener that I don't have here on the table, but we have one in the store if you want to check it out. But there is some nice gear that is going to be available for this event as well. A really nice cutter and lighter set. I don't know how well you can see this from this distance, but it is actually it's a beautiful cutter. It's super heavy, and you can hear it's got a great sound to it, real good, solid, heavy blades. It's got the Perdomo logo etched on the blades, which I think is such a super classy touch. And it is a safety cutter, so you don't have to worry about cutting too deep on that. So that's going to be one of the offerings, as well as this lighter. Now, arc lighters have been a thing in the industry here for a little while now. If you're not familiar with an arc lighter, it literally makes a little electrical arc like a taser or something would. And they're really good for lighting, say, cigarettes and the like, but they're really not great for cigars. So these guys have come up with something neat to where we're using an arc ignition on a fuel-based lighter. But you get an instant nice solid triple flame every time you click that trigger. You don't have to worry about so many of the other issues I see with torch lighters. Something about this arc ignition just makes sure that thing lights up instantly and does it every time. So this is some super, super nice swag that's not going to be an astronomical buy to get a hold of. So if you are here the night of our Perdomo event, again, that is taking place Friday, May 26th, be here. You can take home these, you can take home the cap, and what other cool and fancy other swag gets kicked into the pile before we get things going on here the end of next month. So put that on your calendar now. Also, just a big way in advance heads up, we have another event scheduled coming up. This one with Rocky Patel. Jared Oliver, our rep, is going to be here, and that is going to be August 11th. So you've got plenty of time to prep for that, but put it on your calendar now so you don't forget it. So May 26th, Perdomo. August 11th, Rocky. Both of them right here at Cigar Club Southeast Texas. And another kick in here real quick before we wrap it up. Our Lake Charles store is getting ready to feature a Room 101 event that's happening again at the Lake Charles location. I believe that date is May 12th. So that's actually the next one coming up. That's just happening in our Lake Charles store. So if you ever make it to that side of the Sabine, write that date down as well. May 12th with Room 101 cigars at our Lake Charles store. And we've got Perdomo coming up here the end of May, and we'll be doing Rocky in early August. So that's going to wrap things up for this edition of the Humidor Report. If you've not done so already, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you know everything that's happening here at Cigar Club Southeast Texas. We'll be back with you next week with another episode, same place, same time. And until then, I'm Justin, and we'll see you at the club.